We'll start the meeting with the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First line item this evening would be the minutes for the February board meeting. I ask the board for a motion for approval of those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the February. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Next would be personnel.
First up, we have Claire Garwood. We need to approve her. I know the basketball season is obviously over. We had approved her as a volunteer initially, but halfway through, she became the varsity assistant. So we approve for that.
I'll make a motion to approve Claire Garwood as the varsity assistant girls basketball coach.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And then Joe Clifford to be our boys middle school volleyball assistant.
I'll make a motion to approve Joe Clifford.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And finally, Jacob Hepner to be the boys golf coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Jacob Hepner of the boys golf coach.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And motion approved.
Dave's still the golf coach.
Mitch.
Mitch. So where's this Jacob?
Jacob was our JV basketball coach.
Business leader.
And business teacher.
Oh, is he business?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has a gym classes.
He does cut people right.
Yes.
Any questions by the board? Doctor?
No, still in my head. Screen.
Do I have a motion?
We'll make a motion to approve team document.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Okay, next item would be the balance sheet. Any questions by the board on the balance sheet? We'll continue moving on to public comments. Are there any public comments this evening?
Yeah, I got one question. I wasn't here last time. They were talking about the new furniture in the cafeteria. I think you ought to move to the library, because I'm not gonna sit in them benches like that. I should bring a special chair for me to sit.
We can do.
For you?
Hey,
Yeah,
We'll do that.
we can
Because I
do
got a
one
hard
for
time
you.
just getting out of this chair.
I've gotten you a special chair many times, I'll do it again. Not a problem.
I bet it's one that you lay back in, I don't think.
Yeah.
You want a recliner?
We can even personalize
Size
it.
chair.
Okay, he'll be snoring.
Any other questions?
A request, when you guys get to the furniture approval, would you mind including the amount that you're approving it for? And then a question about the property disposal policy. Does that include is this authorizing a superintendent to be able to sell real estate or buildings? Is that included in property? It was kind of ambiguously defined.
We'll include that on your
Question sheet.
questions, so you can answer. I'll answer written questions within 3 days. You'll have some kind of answer, even if that's a placeholder. But you'll get an answer.
Okay, next item on this evening would be the 2022-2023 calendar.
So there was, after discussion with the union, we did end up backing off after Brian and I touched base on it. The only change we made was we did move the Christmas break back to a full 2 weeks. And we took a teacher record day that we had sitting in either December or January. We took that back out. So this is more in line with what we've done during this time. But as far as the start dates, that's the same that you were presented with. What else?
I do see one change if we can,
Okay.
graduation. Keeping it the same week as Memorial Day.
Oh, did you push it out to next week?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So June.
June 2nd.
June 2nd.
Yeah.
I can update that. With,
We're trying again to, just so you guys know, the prom right before graduation again. So trying not to steal a Saturday away. Again, there's some cost savings there of having it at the place we had it last year.
Sure.
so with that change,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved for the calendar.
All right. Last month I came to you guys with my wish list of things that I would like. I know probably just looking at that bottom number, like wow, that's a lot of stuff. So my goal was let's try to get this all done in one shot. I know that's gonna be hard to do. So I knew I need to have a backup plan. So right now I have a backup plan. Mr. Shepherd kind of gave me a number to run with. So my plan, just kind of to tell you guys what I'm thinking of doing now. I had told you guys last month that kindergarten through 3rd grade I had already received chairs in the last 4 years. So my plan is let's get them to take the desks that they need, the student desks that they need. If you remember, there was the movable unit that I showed you guys when we were at Wanatah that have, because they'll have the containers that come in and out of the desk. So each of those teachers would get one of those, and then they would get the student desks that they need. So try to fill out K through 3 so that they are done, and we have everything for them. And then I was starting to look at middle school and high school, trying to finish some or trying to update some of those things. So we did buy desks last year, so we had 2 classrooms already done. Talked to some teachers here. There's some stuff that we can easily take with us that's in very good shape. So looking at ends up being 4 classrooms at the junior high and high school level and the art room. So it'd be 5 total. So that would be right around that would keep us under that $85,000 budget. Mr. Shepherd had said then something about cafeteria tables. I know we were all interested in that when we looked at them. But I also know, talking to Mr. Goose, that there's a possibility that we can wrap ours and try to get some more life out of them. I think they're still in good shape. Those chairs are in good shape. I think that was stuff that was well built. So it's all in good shape. We can fit the high school and junior high in there if we need to. I would have plans if we got to take 4 of these tables up there and put them in the back. We can get well over 200 in there. So my thought was, if we kind of went with wrapping the tables and we didn't get those cafeteria tables right away, I could use then that money that we were thinking for our cafeteria tables, and it would get us another 2 classrooms done at the junior high and high school level. So it'd get us a lot closer to having everything that we need. And then I'm sure I will come back next year and ask for more additional money to get the rest that we need. But I think that would give us a really good start of what we need.
You still retain the chairs also, so you mentioned tables and chairs will still also be utilized again.
Yeah. Yep.
When you mentioned wrap, were you talking like fully wrapping or just like a logo?
I think that would be a discussion to have of how we wanna wrap them. If we do nothing with them, I think they're still look fine. But if we want to do something different, if we want to change that cafeteria a little bit, and we want to do something with the tables, I think that's something we can do.
The only reason I asked is that on your logos, there's like a graffiti type film where, I mean, I'm sure that would be a draw for kids if you have it fully wrapped to start using them as a resource, but there's graffiti type film that you can also do that too, so whatever you kind of want to do.
Okay. And that's one worry I have, or question I have is I know when kids see something that's peeling off,
Yeah, there's
one starts peeling, the next kid starts peeling.
Yeah. That's the kind of film we have to make sure that a lot of it would have to go with your designer, how much of the coverage you want.
Okay.
So if you would end up in lieu of the cafeteria, the tables, use that for more classes, then that would get you to.
It would get me, and that would get me classes, that would get me 2 more classrooms at the high school level. And it would give me chairs for 4th, 5th, and 6th. So then we would be short desks for them, and we would be short 2 classrooms at the junior high and high school level that don't have something brand new in them. So at least K through 6 would have everything that they would need.
Okay. So you basically would be looking at 2.5 classes or 3 classes for
Yeah.
another year.
What about the library?
My hope for the library, and this does include the 24 student chairs for the library. The tables are in there now, are not in bad shape, but we do have tables here that I would like to take them there to put in the library. As far as the corner of the library that I want to kind of make the reading nook and get some new vinyl chairs in there, that is still something that I would like to try to present possibly to our local Lions clubs and see if they would be willing to help out with those and make that a Lions club nook. We can call it something and give them, so that's something I want to look at. So I wouldn't include that right now.
So back to the furniture. What I've got sitting there for the board, without utilizing the money for cafeteria tables, leaving that out, that's where the 85 comes in. If we tell Brian we're gonna stand pat with cafeteria tables, or we're gonna do a label, a logo, or a wrap through Tim, then for him to get those additional couple classrooms would take that number to
About 107 right now.
about 107.
So
Okay, so if we shift the cafeteria money over, then we would add to that to get it to about a 107 total expenditure.
Okay, before you make a determination, maybe I can do like a pilot, like you can actually see one of them, wrap one of them, or come up with designs, so that you can play with the substrates before you come up with final resolution.
okay.
So we can, then if you like it, great, if not, you can figure out the direction.
And I did talk to Sharp School Services, so I got the quote. Numbers didn't change, freight didn't change. Some of the tables went down a little bit. One of the tables that we were gonna do for kindergarten, from the first quote, those went up a little bit, so we kind of changed that a little bit. She told me if we ordered sometime in the next 2 weeks, we'd be looking at mid-July that they'll come in. But she also told me that there's a lot of schools that are ordering too, so therefore that we're on a list of when they're gonna deliver them. But just remember, the quote does say that they bring everything in, they unpack everything, they put it in the room, and then they take everything away. So, and all these desks come built already, so there's no putting them together.
How urgent is the need for those other two classes? So if we forgo the cafeteria, I mean, is it critical that that gets done, I mean, sooner than later? Are we short on furniture, or is furniture for those two classrooms?
We're not short on furniture. The one is the science. So we have science lab tables now at Wanatah Hall. They're showing their age a little bit. We have newer lab tables here. The tables that we're looking to give for the second science lab room, we're going to be very similar to the art one. Art tables, so they're on wheels. They're on their stools. They're magnetic to the table. The only difference between the art table and the science table is it has that vanilla top, that black top, so that they can do projects on it and not stain it. So that's one thing that I did not put in there in that first budget, because that's something that we can put in. That we gotta wait a year or two on that. I think we'll be okay. My plan is anytime that we have a lab that we need gas or water and things like that, we're just gonna use that science lab, that main one, and the science teacher understand to work together. So
then if we didn't do the cafeteria, it would be 2 more classes.
2 more classrooms at the high school. It would give us the science classroom, so those tables, another just general classroom for the tables, and then it'd give us chairs for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Now, let me add to that from a budgetary perspective, 2 thoughts. Whether it's the 85 or the 107, a little over 30 grand of that is gonna come out of ESSER. So essentially, really, Brian's asking for either 50, about 50 or about 80 of quote unquote our funds. The other budget thought is, if you think Mr. Ritchie is against trees on his claim document, you haven't seen anything yet, he'll have spreadsheets for us with the budget projected out. He'll have a placeholder going forward for furniture dollars to do the rest of Brian's vision. But in the here and now, he and I, neither one were comfortable at the whole kit and caboodle of about 215, but we would be completely comfortable at the 107, obviously at the 85. So from our budget, with those ESSER dollars that we have left from the original CARES Act, we can feel good. We're in good shape with whatever you guys choose to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, you wait a year, that extra $20,000 is gonna cost you probably $25,000 or $26,000.
Entirely possible.
Do I have a motion by the board for approval for not to exceed $85,000 for the furniture project?
Yeah, I'll check those.
I'll second that.
Oh,
Stay just with that one
Five.
at the 85.
Or are we gonna
Wait.
do the 107?
so you want to ask for the 107 minus, I didn't know, for general fund dollars, but yeah, we need, I guess, approve for all of it, so I guess it would be the 107, not to exceed anything.
Yeah, if you guys want to do his option 2, which gets him the science lab tables, the 2 additional classrooms.
I mean, I personally have no problem. I mean, like I said, if we wait another year,
It's gonna,
it's gonna go up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really curious to see what the freight goes up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's gonna, yeah, so, I mean,
Yeah, this would allow him then to get with his contact tomorrow,
exactly, that's,
ink it,
Yeah.
get the order initiated, lock in the charges as they are now. I would hope, and they take the bite out of whatever freight does in a few months from now.
The next time I ask for furniture, I'm guessing none of you will be around. It'll be like 15, 20 years from now. And you won't be on the board anymore.
Oh,
You'll be around, but you won't be on the board.
Are you like predicting?
I don't know,
that?
we got a few here.
I'm hoping I'm still here, but I'm hoping you guys will all be retired.
Only one of them big lazy boys in there. I even pick it up. and charge
Can I make a motion to put an extra $1,000 in there for Jim's special chair?
State work accounts. Yeah, next time you ask for furniture, it better be a plastic lawn chair and nothing more.
Dollar General.
Well, I'll go along with Chad's thoughts. I mean, this kind of goes against the grain of like getting all new like this, but having a fresh start. So, and like Chad said, I mean, with the way,
Inflation.
yeah,
Inflation.
are they going to get any better? So go ahead and do what you can now. Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a
Chad's
motion.
motion at the 107.
107.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Tim, would you mind if we unplugged the cooler there so it could hear better?
That's fine.
And this, really my budget and being holding on to kind of being tough on running furniture, again, it comes back to next time, the 5-year plan cost. We've all been working for the last year or so on what else do you need, sort of a physical needs assessment. And we need to know what kind of some of those options and ideas and whatever we categorize them. We need to know cost on them. So what I'd like to ask permission on number 9 is to engage with PSI, since obviously they're still here with us currently, and they've done good work on this for us in the past, but to have them work from our list and give us an idea of what some of those things could cost. So then we match up what our dollars are with what current costs are. And they're pretty good about projecting based on freight, based on materials, the inflation. They're really skilled at that. But I'd like to get that going with your permission so that we can look at our list and decide kind of piecemeal out of card what goes together now that we've made that commitment. So that's what number 9 is.
Yeah, I have no problem.
I'd say only makes sense. I give approval to get a cost analysis done by.
I think annually we should almost look at this every year, look at figures, because things are going to always evolve every year. Almost have some kind of analysis done to make sure before the summer we're looking at the projects ahead, just so we have visibility of what our expenses are and what's the priority.
I feel like that was a motion by Darren.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And I think they'll be pretty quickly responsive to the fact that they're already still doing this. Number 10 is the second reading of our property disposal policy. We're looking for approval on that tonight. Again, to paraphrase what that is the policy that outlines how we dispose of obsolete property, curriculum, and materials. So seeking approval for that policy. That is it's a Neola policy, so.
I'll make a motion to accept the property disposal policy.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Thank you. What else did you have planned, right?
So boys basketball ended last week. Finished 12-10, first winning record since 2004. Won 4 games in the last week of the regular season. Topped off by probably the biggest win we've had in quite a few years against Touts. So it was really electric in this building that night. So it was a lot of fun. Brought back for me a lot of memories of growing up and seeing big games in this gym. So it was a lot of fun. Boys did very well this year. Having a new coach and adjusting and having 7 seniors, so they did really well with Coach Snodgrass. And so
the parental concerns that we experienced 7-8 months ago died down. But
Yeah. We had SAT testing last week for juniors. So this is something that we have to do yearly now, that we offer it in our school. Every school has to now. So there's no iStep or iLearn for high school. It's SAT testing now. So all juniors have to take it. They don't have to pass it, but we will. This year was a baseline, and then in years coming ahead, this will be something that we will be. They'll look at, and there'll be an average that we need to hit as a school. We'll have to see if we hit that average. So that will be coming. Had IRE testing this week for 3rd grade, which has always been a 3rd grade test. We opted in this year. The state's allowing 2nd graders to take it. Their schools opted in. We opted into it because if a kid passes it as a 2nd grader, they don't have to take it in 3rd grade then, and they just have iLearn testing. So we're trying to, that's one positive out of it. Another one is it lets us kind of measure where we're at with those kids and gives us a year to know where they're at and what we can
They
do to
need
help
more.
them. And because it is it's a time test, you have 30 minutes, and I think Mrs. Martin does a really good job of getting her kids prepared throughout the year. But I think our 3rd graders started today. 2nd graders will start tomorrow. And I have a lot of confidence in. We have quite a few 2nd graders. I think they'll do well. So I'm excited to see what we do on that. Website update. So we did pick our header and footer of our website. And so now we're moving on to setting our site plan to them. What do we want on our website? What we're bringing over from the old website. And at the end of March, there's 6 of us that are getting trained on it. And then by the end of the year, all the teachers will be trained on it as well because they'll each have their own individual page. So that's moving pretty smoothly right now. Hope is early May that comes out. But it's been a smooth process with the new company we're working with.
So which format did you end up choosing?
Exemplary.
Simpler, yeah.
So we were looking at the website itself on a computer, but we know a lot of people use their phone now, so we wanted to make sure the mobile one was very interactive for people and they were able to see things. So that's why we ended up going with that one. And we kept the same for the 2 websites that we'll have.
Is that WordPress, right? Like, what kind of, for editing and making changes, or what kind of format?
I'm not for sure, so I'm hoping by the end of the month I can answer that.
Yep.
After the training. We have kindergarten roundup on March 22nd. For our engineering and trying to get robotics and STEM back into the classroom, applied for 3 grants 2 weeks ago. 2 of them already came back that we were approved for them to get our teacher trained in those areas. So Launch is our elementary program, and Gateway is the junior high program. So we have grants for those. I'm still waiting on the high school one to see if we get that grant. Talking to the lady from PLTW, it sounds like we will get it. It's just they are going through the process. And so she's gonna also having a meeting with her next week to know. I want to let her know everything that we already have for STEM, so that we can come up with a plan of how we want to use our existing stuff, since it's not very old, and what's the best course of action for us. And then the last thing we had, the South County Coalition took students to the State House yesterday to talk to different representatives, took them around the Capitol, got very good feedback from our 3 students that went. So thank you, South County Coalition, for taking them.
Thank you.
We're glad they enjoyed it.
Yeah, they had a great time. I think, was it 2 years ago you guys went?
Yep.
Okay. And last year we did it.
No.
Do it. Okay. So I think both times our kids have enjoyed it. So I'm glad that they were able to support our kids. And there was 4 kids from Westville, 4 from South Central, and 3 from here. So we had one that got sick the night before.
Do they still do that, Brian, in elementary? That was my kid's favorite field trip.
And you know, the last 2 years we haven't done field trips.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about in the middle school meeting yesterday how these 8th graders have never been on an end of year field trip. And so a lot of these kids have not experienced field trips. So it's
I
something
know,
that we
like-
want to make sure.
Hayden, he really enjoyed going to the State House in elementary and,
So where's the country?
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, we did.
Did you mention the pre-K grant?
I did not.
So,
We had the first round of pre-K grant that we got in January that was right around 31,000. This is Oxford, worked on the second pre-K grant last week. We got that one, it was just under 79,000.
Wow.
So yeah,
and
Wow.
she was shocked, we were shocked. What we speculate is that's kind of the last place where some ESSER dollars are still coming, feeding that program now. She
That's great.
essentially
Wow, that's
says,
awesome.
clicked some buttons, had a few questions for Dara, plugged them in. Boom, sends us, takes a picture, texts us both, approved, 78,000.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
So, that is, I mean, that's excellent because the program is great. And now, I feel like 2 years for sure, it's cost neutral.
Yeah.
And it's a great commitment, even, you know, I had the dollars sitting there. Now, they're not our dollars, they're in addition to. So that's a great thing.
That's great.
So, my comment on the basketball seasons, both boys and girls, amazing. And Darren and Chad, baseball fans, feel like what I told Coach Snod. I'm waiting for the Snod and the Tigers 30 for 30. The Red Sox had 4 days in October. Snod had 4 days in February. That's going to be the ESPN 30 for 30. Looking forward to it. We make a great documentary. It's that Friday night win. That's why I would have loved for you
I bet you would have been.
to have been there. That
What
was
was
fun.
Couch's record coming into that?
14 and 7 or 5-1 in conference.
Yeah.
So
Just the
Yeah.
fact that he was last year's state runner-up.
It was a great,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great week.
It seemed like that game was like 5 minutes long, like it went so fast.
I
It
know,
really is.
right?
Yep, so, yes, keep an eye on ESPN, look for.
Okay.
Snod and the Tigers,
Snod and
4
the
days in
Tigers.
February. That's all we have. Who's taking Aaron's role?
How about now?
Yeah, Mel.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Jared will love it.
Yeah.
It's perfect,
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
thank you.
He would not want it any other way, Mel.
Yeah, right.
I should have recorded.
You should have.
Justin, Morgan.